often feel like I have my finger on the pulse of what kind of cults and scams are occurring for the most part, but I had never heard of Nature Boy until somebody brought him up in my comments. I hopped myself right on down that rabbit hole because there was so much there, and it's a really unfortunate but also not uncommon story of an abuser. I'm Misty, this is my creaky chair, and we're here to discuss this cult, who were first called the Ethereans, then Melanation, then Carbon Nation. Also, I will tag the designer of this little crop top bralette thing that I'm wearing. It is actually crocheted, which, as you know, crochet only done by hand. Beautiful work. And yeah, these are crocheted on. And I think it was like $90, which I feel like is an amazing price for this incredibly beautiful piece of art. Support small artists. First and foremost, gonna issue a huge trigger warning for this whole conversation for domestic abuse, revenge corn. I'm referring to it as corn just to be safe as far as censorship things, assault, and grape, which again, I'm saying it that way for censorship. Nature Boy's real name is Eligio Bishop. He's originally from New York, but made his way to Atlanta, Georgia, where he worked as a stripper, a corn performer, an escort, and he modeled. According to an ex-member of Bishop's group, his parents passed when he was young and he bounced around foster homes before he was adopted by a couple that ultimately harmed him. He has described it as an abusive home, and while that difficult upbringing can often explain certain behaviors, it's never a reason to continue a harmful cycle. You guys already know that because you're smart, but it's just, you gotta say it. Noor Jasmine made a video about Nature Boy. Shout out to her, I love her channel. And that's where I got some of this information. In 2009, he was charged with forcible entry, and in 2011, he was charged with aggravated battery and theft. But in 2014, he decided to kind of get his life together and he got his barber's license. Well, but what is that? He started his YouTube channel around that time. By 2016, Nature Boy was a force to be reckoned with which to be reckoned. So around 2015, 2016, he started a more official collection of people. Like I said, they started out with the name the Ethereans, later changed to Melanation. His videos were talking about basically saying that America is evil and bad, capitalism is evil and bad, which, like, you know, that's not entirely wrong. He also advocated for off-grid living. Think of that person you know who just got really into new age things that now they've entered the alt-right pipeline. I know a few people in that in that vein, but they were once like this, which there's nothing wrong. Let me just say I really don't think there's anything wrong with living off grid if that's what you want to do, or conscious living in a collective space. But that doesn't mean you don't have to be careful because culty things can go down. So basically, people who watched his YouTube videos, which were kind of taking off, were inspired to go to where he was. He was in Central America at the time. An ex-member, Erica Carroll, provided a lot of her testimony basically about her experience, and she joined when they were in Honduras. As one of the first members of the group, she was given the name BP, which is short for blueprint. Like, that's not even that creative, you know what I mean? And he would do this with all the new members when they arrived. He would strip them of their Babylon name, which is what he called their, you know, given name, and would provide them a name that, of course, he came up with, like a literal cult leader. Nature Boy knew how to destroy these people's self-esteem. According to Erica, they would have these super long meetings where they were just constantly berated. She described them as extended sessions of verbal and mental abuse. Her breaking point, though, was witnessing Nature slap and berate a woman before demanding oral sex. Now let's switch over to Velvet's story. Velvet is not only an ex-member of Carbon Nation, she's also Nature Boy's ex-wife. She did a video with Real Life Productions, and they actually interviewed a few members, so if you're interested in learning more, I would check out their channel. Velvet grew up with 4 sisters and 4 brothers and kind of raised her younger siblings, so she had to grow up super fast. She eventually went to college with a full ride scholarship, but decided to drop out after experiencing depression. At that time, she was also watching Nature Boy videos and was inspired by what he was saying. She just pretty much looked around and was like, none of this matters. Like, it's not real. It's not the real substance of life. Like, we're sitting in these isolated rooms. We're not outside in nature. We're not like actually experiencing life and learning from that. I think I'm like putting some words in her mouth when I say that because she describes it differently, but I'm trying to convey that feeling that I think a lot of us experience, regardless of if we go to college or not, experience like in our late teens, early 20s especially. Your entire perspective is like forcibly shifted all at once. If you did complete high school, you're thrust into this new experience, and it's great for some people, but others really struggle for a variety of reasons, and it's completely understandable. So self-admittedly, Velvet was naive and just young at the time, like 20-ish by the time she got to Nature Boy, like 2021, when she, was physically with him in his group. But basically, she was, like I said, watching his YouTube videos, becoming inspired by this rhetoric about, living off the land, which same girl. I also became inspired by stuff like that, like Into the Wild. I was like, yes, we need to be out there, like hitting the pavement. Not that I'm not inspired about those things today, but I just have a very different perspective on that. And also like the safety of, especially as a young woman, going out into those environments, which unfortunately are often riddled with abusive men and abusive people and a lot of lost people, and good people too. They do exist, but overall, not the best environment for anybody. So Velvet is in contact with a member of Nature Boy's group and starts talking to him. They have deeper conversations and they start kind of dating. And then they're actually like officially dating. She goes to be with them in Costa Rica. But from the very beginning, Nature Boy was sabotaging their relationship and clearly wanted to be with Velvet. Mind you, like I said, she's 2021. Nature Boy's 37, mid to late 30s, she said. Yes, she's legally of age to date, anybody over the age of 18 legally. But I think the majority of us understand, hopefully, that 2021, your brain's not fully developed. For somebody like Velvet, she kind of alludes to the fact that it was very clear that she was feeling lost. Nature Boy is opportunistic. He knew how to speak in his YouTube videos to attract people like her, people who are searching for something grounded in nature and something that was honest for once about the state of the world. I feel like I say this all the time, but a lot of people are I could never be in a cult. I couldn't understand that. But you truly never know until you're in that experience yourself. People like Nature Boy, they are master manipulators. And you judging people who fall victim to these things is just pushing them further into that situation and increasing the shame where shame does not belong. Nature Boy was saying things that appealed to people who were struggling in the ways that he has struggled. He's been through a lot. He knows how to relate to people who've also been through difficult life circumstances. So of course, Velvet's relationship was broken up by Nature Boy. He immediately started love bombing her, which hindsight's 2020 for Velvet, but also I've said this before and I'll say it again. I have, thank God, been protected from that going too far, but I have definitely experienced it and been yeah, I deserve this. I deserve this attention. At this time, Nature Boy was in a relationship with 3 other women. According to Velvet, these relationships were purely sexual, and she later actually expresses that she believes Nature Boy is gay. A lot of people actually say this about him, and when you watch some of the videos, like if you watch Noor Jasmine's video, you'll see more context to this. And like, obviously there's nothing wrong with being gay, duh. But it makes you wonder if him denying and suppressing that part of himself is contributing to his shitty behavior. Not that, again, like, not an excuse ever to put your trauma on other people. Like, you're a grown man. Like, becomes your responsibility once you become an adult. And it's never a reason to do it to somebody else, even if it's understandable why it happens. Velvet also witnessed Nature Boy basically in homosexual relations, which, again, obviously nothing wrong with that, except that he was cheating on everybody. Did I say this? She said that these relationships were purely sexual. Like, once they were in a relationship officially, like, it was just sexual things and not romantic at all. Velvet was with Nature Boy for 4 years total, and toward the end of that time, she actually got pregnant. Nature Boy was extremely abusive around this time. If she denied him sex, he abused her physically. He also took her documentation so she couldn't leave, and talked to her about wanting to take someone's virginity. Without Velvet's consent, he posted videos of her giving him oral sex, and Velvet said right before that they were literally fighting. Like, she did not want to do that. So absolutely disgusting. He was also sending her nudes and videos of her to other women. Additionally, he released a sex tape of Velvet and another woman, which, again, both of these women were forced to do. Just a couple other things of note in Velvet's interview. Nature Boy was very controlling of information, even going so far as to ban books. According to her, he also wanted to turn all the men into eunuchs. So during his time as a cult leader, he convinced a lot of people to give him a lot of money, as cult leaders do. One person even gave him $300,000. Additionally, one woman died, and according to some sources, it's because she didn't take her heart medicine because Nature Boy didn't want her taking them. Also, unsurprisingly, STDs were rampant in this group. Some of the videos of Bishop are absolutely appalling. You literally witness him abusing one of the women in his group. You can hear him striking her in the video. It's absolutely awful. I don't recommend seeing that. He also has videos where he talks about having sex in front of his son, how he lets his son grab his appendage, and that he will have sex with his son's mother while she is breastfeeding. There was a news segment that I watched about this, and a therapist that they had on said something I wanted to call attention to about these situations. While these people are in the cult, they're also being brainwashed to further distrust, the system, the justice system. So before what we all hope is an inevitable demise of a cult leader or a leader of a high control situation where illegal activity is occurring, and the leader knows that they are going to be, taken up with the law, they will teach their members to remain loyal to them and program them to believe that they cannot trust the system persecuting them because it's all against them, because they're doing something different, Love Has Won is another cult that kind of did this. They were prepared for their leader to die, to pass away, to transition in one sense or another, so that when that inevitably happened, they remained loyal to that cause. And it's important to bring this up because he does, to this day, have members loyal to him. Oh yeah, he also convinced people to take out PPP loans for him. I did watch a video where Nature Boy's, loyal followers spoke out, and they said go to natureboytv.com/home to find the truth, but you have to create an account to find the truth, and I don't want to do that. So I'm good with the lies I have. Thank you. I don't think the truth would be on an email list. You know what I mean? So as I mentioned, Melanation was at one point the name of this cult. group, Nature Boy preached that Black and melanated people were superior, genetically superior, and that being in the sun just makes you a superior being. He said, quote, "If you lack melanation, you're genetically R-word," unquote. So not very inclusive, and more importantly, not great for making money. And if there's one thing a cult leader is gonna do, it is get that bag. So of course, at one point he started accepting everybody into his cult and later renamed it Carbon Nation. While people joined him in Costa Rica to sleep in tents and forage for food, they were eventually all deported because of visa issues, unsurprisingly. Oh yeah, by the way, he discouraged pooping in toilets, saying the only place you should poop is at the base of a tree. Right. He also discouraged bathing and using soap. So there's a clip of them getting deported and literally not being let on the plane because they smelled so bad. Like, this whole airline is risking some kind of lawsuit because too many people on the plane complained. Obviously, they eventually made it back to the US. One of the things that I love about modern weirdos is live streaming. They love to live stream. Just like Jason Nash, Bishop would live stream with his group using the tagline, "Don't hate, donate." When you see clips of these conversations, remember how Erica talked about how he would have these meetings, but they were like these sessions of abuse? Watching some of those, it's like he's not even saying anything really revolutionary. It's just utter hodgepodge. It is cult leader word salad. I feel like he just went to YouTube and watched a bunch of videos from a bunch of different cult leaders and cherry-picked ways to control the people. Nature Boy is also known as 3 God, by the way. So they'll do this thing where they go 333, 333. It's really weird. So Velvet, who I brought up earlier, she actually gave Nature Boy her $3,000 college fund. And he was spoiling her, like, in that love bombing phase, but then went to eventually abusing her. Like I mentioned, that woman passed away. Her name was Mama Dia. Her real name was Magdalena Sevilla, and she died only 2 months after joining the cult because of Nature Boy convincing her that she didn't need her medication. He believed that you could heal yourself with like fruits, vegetables, and good energy and stuff. You've heard it before. It's like, honestly, it's not a unique thing. Look at Jessie Lee Ward, you know? Oh yeah, and Velvet said that the reason Nature Boy wanted so many wives and children by them is so they could eventually inbreed. Like, that is how far gone this situation is. As far as Nature Boy being gay, like I mentioned, he did bring this up himself in certain videos. There are videos of him embodying femininity, saying like, I'm acting, I'm an actor, but the circumstances are a little bizarre. He said that he discovered why homosexual thoughts happen. He said that nature does this to bring balance, that homosexuals have high IQs, and that they have a super high creative level. And the reason that nature needs to bring this balance is because females don't express femininity enough. So the universe creates feminine men to bring balance. According to a lot of ex-members, Bishop also treated the men like garbage in this group. He would make them feed him, make them give him water, and it's honestly like Erica said in the beginning of this video, that he would just make them think so little of themselves, like get rid of any shred of confidence in themselves or any other situation than the one that they're currently in. After they were deported from Costa Rica, they went to Hawaii, but got arrested because they broke COVID protocol at the time. It was 2020. At this time, Bishop forced Velvet to marry him in a Vegas chapel. Apparently he did this so that she could bail him out of prison for any reason. But she finally left for good in 2020. Thank God. She would be 27 now. Velvet was called the Queen when she was the main wife, and then after her was Malia. Malia actually left and came back, and there's a video of them doing a humiliation ritual with her. Like, she had to get on her knees and apologize. It was so sad because, again, like, she she did leave at one point and then she went back. That is not uncommon in cult-like situations because the support when you leave is not necessarily there. So when he was live streaming in Decatur, Georgia, which is where they went after Hawaii, it was very clearly somebody experiencing a psychotic break almost. Like that's what it looked like. And they're in suburbia, like literally on a cul-de-sac. So neighbors would call the cops on them. Like people would call the cops on them because they told people in their live stream the address of where they were. On April 13th, 2020, this house in Decatur, Georgia was raided. Thankfully, there was an investigation into the cult, Carbon Nation. There's video of Bishop's wife after his arrest literally saying, quote, "He is our Messiah. He is Jesus in the flesh." This is how manipulative people can be. Like, honestly. This is real. Thankfully, he was denied bail after his arrest. Bishop is now 40. In 2022, a grand jury indicted him on 5 charges. I'm going to read them all to you. Rape, false imprisonment. Then there were 3 counts of prohibition on nude or sexually explicit electronic transmissions. So that's where we are today. I'm absolutely thrilled that this court case turned out this way. It couldn't have gone better. He's behind bars for life, hopefully. He is obviously an extremely dangerous person, a narcissist, an abuser, etc., etc., etc. And if you recognize those signs in any situation, just be vigilant, and if it feels wrong, it probably is. If you enjoyed this video and breakdown of Nature Boy, give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you want to watch more videos about cults and scams.